everyone, and welcome to the second race of the DICE racing series. This race is in Tokyo at the World Grand Prix track, or at least it's based on the World Grand Prix track. A lot smaller, because again, limited road pieces and space. But this race is sponsored by King Anime 400 on Instagram. Link to that account will be in the description, of course. So the races start here at the main straight area, and they go through these two turns around here. Then they have a bit of a straight area, and then they have to go to the left here. Just another one of these zigzags. Then a bit straight through all of these fans. Then we get to the crash zone. Yes, this is the only other track besides the first racetrack where we raced last week. And yeah, it goes around here. It goes over there. This is a lot shorter than the last one because the last one had like half pieces in here. This one doesn't, so it might mean some more crashes. We'll see. Then they go around here, make this big turn, and get back on the straight. Now let's go over the racers. In pole position, again, we have Francesco Bernoulli, sponsored by Crazy Cars Canada. Second place, we have Miguel Camino, sponsored by Esgar Ramirez. 95 LMQ Jeff Corvette, sponsored by Interstate, 290 on third. And on fourth place we have Carlo Veloso, sponsored by Manonvanloenen. Fifth place we have Shuto Doroki, sponsored by Revler Fan 80. And on sixth place we have last week's winner, Vali Petro, sponsored by CarsCollectorUK. Seventh place we have Rolls Rules, sponsored by 95 Fan. Eighth place we have Revler, sponsored by VT Cars 31. Ninth place we have Lewis Hamilton, sponsored by carsdiecastreviewer. 10th place Nigel Gearsley, sponsored by T-Toy Reviews Thai. 11th place we have Lightning McQueen, sponsored by Lil 57. And in 12th and last place starting we have Max Schnell, sponsored by ImelvisRV. So now that we have gone over all of the racers, the pit crew's ready, the fans are in their place. So yeah, let's begin. So we've reached the crash zone. Francesco's even made an entire lap and is almost out of the second time he goes through the crash zone. And both him and Jeff have passed Miguel, who had a good start but then didn't go so well. Then Francesco and Jeff chased him, and then Jeff passed. First Francesco passed him, then Jeff. Shutoruki is not too far behind. And then here we have all of these cars bunched up like in one group. Vitali was doing pretty good. He got into the top 5, but then he had a bad roll of the dice and he ended up in 9th. Max has caught up one place. I think he doesn't want the same thing to happen to him that happened to Carla, where he stays in the back for most of the laps. Then way in the back we have Nigel Gearsley, sadly. If he's not able to catch up quick enough, then he might get overlapped, since these laps are shorter and there are more. So we just got into the second lap with Jeff Corvette literally staying on the start-finish line. Francesco, who was in front, is right behind him on the place where he actually started. Jeff literally passed him at the last second. A bit behind them we have Shuto Doroki and Revler, who is actually doing a great race. He started in 8th and now he's in 4th, and he seems to be going pretty fast. Then we have Miguel Camino, who had a good start, but he's now in 5th with Carla right besides him. Then we have Vali Petrov and Lightning McQueen. Nigel just had a really good dice roll, 6 roll thing, 2 times 6, so he caught up and he is now in 10th place, right besides Raul. You would think he's in 10th place, but this is actually the on the same side as the inside of the track, so this is the one who goes first. And Max is doing a pretty good job. He is back in 11th, but he's right behind the rest. And now Lewis is in the back, and yeah, let's hope he doesn't stay there and can catch up or something. We'll see how it goes. There haven't actually been any crashes at all. So I thought that this would like mess things up, where there would be more crashes, but maybe this means less crashes, maybe no crashes at all. Well, my hopes of having a race without crashes is gone now. We had Francesco, who moved up until here, and yeah, Jeff Corvette and Rip Koskansky were side by side here, so Jeff had to move and he rammed into Francesco. Rip saw, of course, the crash happening right next to him, so he was able to stop before he hit Jeff. But then he got hit by Carla, who had 2.6, who threw 2.6. Then the rest had to all stop here, except Nigel, who's back there again. But yeah, this is a really bad crash, and it's really bad for the race because some of them had 2.6 and other had rolled 5 and a 6, or yes, really high numbers, and then this crash happened, so they had to stop. Well, as you can see, another crash happens. Miguel Camino, it was really good for Miguel that the other cars crashed, because he was able to go the entire lap here, but then Lewis ran into his side, and when I rolled the dice, Raul ended up right next to him, blocking these 4 cars. Good thing for Nigel, he has caught up with the rest now, so this will make it a little bit, so this gives him a bit more of a chance on getting higher up. And Shooter Rocky is just fine back there. So Rip Koskansky is now at the start-finish line, and he is going into the 3rd lap. And he actually overtook Francesco after they both were involved in a crash at the same time. Francesco was able to take the lead from that, but then Rip passed him, getting Rip in number 1. He started in number 8, now he's in number 1. And let's hope for him he can keep it that way. Francesco is still in 2nd, and Miguel, who started the race really good, then ended up, he had some bad luck, but he's now in 3rd again, pretty good. And then we have Shooter the Rookie, Jeff Corvette, Raul, Max, who has caught up pretty good. Viley and Nigel around the same area. Nigel's also done pretty good. Those crashes really helped him get further in front. Yeah, Carla is pretty far in the back now. Lightning and Lewis are also here in the back. Yeah, this lap was really interesting. Okay guys, so another crash has happened. This time Francesco rammed Carla, because Jeff was right here, Rip was right here, and yeah, then Francesco was, I believe, somewhere up there, and then he just rammed Carla because he wasn't actually able to avoid her. If he had been able to avoid her, he had crashed into Rip Koskansky. That would have caused Carla to crash into him, and there would have been a bit more chaos. Yeah, he didn't avoid her, and then because of that, most cars can keep driving, like Jeff and Michoud. And now we are going into lap 4. Miguel's in the lead, and Jeff has caught up to Rip, and he also passed Shooter the Rocky. And Carla, who was actually able to pass Francesco because of the crash. Francesco is still in the top 6, but he's not doing too good because of this crash. The other cars are bunched up over here. Hopefully there won't be any crash here with Raul, but we'll see what happens there. So we just went into the 5th lap. Miguel Camino is still leading, although Jeff Corvette is trying to catch him. And behind Jeff we also have Shooter Todoroki incoming, together with Rip Koskansky. A bit more behind them we have a battle between Francesco and Max. Lewis is also joining, and the rest is also coming nearby. But those two were battling it out for the top 5. Right now Francesco is winning. Then we have Nigel and Raul here in the back. Okay, so now we're in the final lap, lap 5. And right now, and if this race was 5 laps, Miguel would have won. But then, when he was past the start-finish, Todoroki then overtook him. Also, Jeff and Rip and Francesco are trying to catch up to beat him. So yeah, that's really the exciting part. This is one of the 2 racing battles. The other racing battle that happened this lap, that battle was like trying to, you know what I mean, racing battle. This is like one battle and the other cars were involved in the other battle. Right now it doesn't look like it. All of these cars were battling to not get last. And as you can see, lost, and he's now in last place. And literally the next time I roll the dice, we get Miguel here. Todoroki is now back and forth. He went from 2nd to 1st to 4th. And now Francesco's right next to Miguel, and Jeff has taken the lead. So we might get a really interesting last lap, because the previous like 1 or 2 laps Miguel was just leading. Now we're actually gonna get like a battle in the last lap. And we also have a crash. Lewis had yet to go, and Vitally crashed into him here. Because Nigel was blocking this part. Lewis was standing here, and Nigel just was here, and then Vitally crashed into him. Lewis didn't get to go, so he gets to leave next turn. Then Lightning came, tried to avoid Lewis, and then crashed into Vitally. So the car in last place is now gonna have to wait. And maybe he even gets overlapped by one of these guys. I don't think so, because there's like a big track, a big portion of the track in between it, but could happen. Okay guys, so Francesco is about to finish. Before I roll the dice and I finish him, then I'm just gonna show you one more time how everything looks right now. Jeff Corvette and Miguel Camino are really close. Miguel just made a comeback, passing both Rip and Shu, who are just like behind them. And then Raul is really catching up, and maybe he'll be able to beat Shu or Rip. Or maybe even Miguel and Jeff if they get really unlucky and he gets lucky. But that's unlikely. More likely he'll beat Shu, but that's also not completely certain. And then a bit more behind we have Carla Veloso, followed by Nigel Gearsley, Max, Vitally. And a bit more behind them we have Lewis and Lightning, who didn't get overlapped, but it was really close. Now let's finish Francesco's race. Roll the dice. 4 and a 6, but yeah, 1 is enough. So Francesco started on pole position and won the race. And now we're gonna roll for Jeff, who maybe finished 6 and a 1. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. And Jeff is 2nd. The last race he was 6th, and now he's 2nd, so that's an improvement. Time for Miguel. Can he finish? Yes, he can finish too. 6. Miguel now is in 3rd. 1, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And Rip Leskansky is 4th, because Shu had a really bad dice roll. Can Raul beat him? Can he get in the top 5? Yes, he can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. And Raul is 5th. He was in last place like a lap ago. And now he's in 5th. That's pretty good. Now I'm not gonna cut the camera because we have an interesting situation here. We might get a crash here. A 1 and a 5. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, Carla has crashed into Max, who is skipping this turn, and Carla is skipping the next turn. Now let's see if Nigel finishes. I think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So Nigel is 7th, And now it's time for Carla and Max to finish, and probably Lewis and Vitaly as well. Okay, those went completely the opposite direction. Get a 6 and a 3, so 1. Yeah, so Carla is now in 8th place. She finishes 1 place higher than last race. She started in 4th, so that's yeah, not good for her, but she got more points this time. And this is for Max. We have a 1, 2, 1, 2. So Max is 9th. Now Lewis can get 10th, or maybe 11th, or maybe 12th. I don't think so, but you don't know. So, but yeah, he makes it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lewis is 10th. Okay, guys, this race it saw a lot of lead changing. We had Francesco started at pole position, and he finishes in first place. Last time he started pole position, he finished in 4th, but this time in 1st. If he keeps doing this, then he will probably win the competition, because the current number 1 in points, or until the number 1 in points before after the first race, got an 11th place. So Francesco probably beats him now. Jeff Corvette did pretty good. He was in first like a few times for a really short time though. He was always chasing after number 1, like either in 2nd or 3rd or 4th place. Miguel had a great start, then fell back a bit, then took the lead again for 2 or 3 laps. And in the last lap he got overtaken by Shu, but he was able to take it back, and Francesco and Jeff passed him. Rip did pretty good. He started in 8th place, and then in the beginning of the race he was really catching up. He even got 1st place at some point. He was in front of Francesco to go into the 3rd lap, I believe. Raul, yeah, he did pretty good, because he was most of the race he was racing in the back. At some point he was even in last place. At least he was battling with Vitaly for last place and 2nd to last. But he did pretty good. I'll see you guys next week for the next race.